I've once again transmigrated into the male protagonist of a tragic story. This time, I've arrived on the day when the female lead and I are about to sign our divorce papers. Just as we're about to sign, a few lines of bullet comments suddenly float across my view. High energy ahead, tragic plot incoming, ha ha ha. I'm waiting for the scumbag male lead to refuse to sign the divorce papers, then cry and beg the female lead for forgiveness. Let's make him suffer. He won't sign. He should have figured out by now that Willow was framed. Right. Looking at these bullet comments, I just smiled and decisively signed the divorce papers. I'm not the real male lead. So what's stopping me? Why should I follow the tragic plot? Chapter 1. I've transmigrated into the old, melodramatic, tragic story: the CEO's captive wife, becoming the cold, heartless, blind-eyed, heart-blind, obsessive, and mentally ill male protagonist, George, who ultimately, in order to win back his wife, doesn't hesitate to torment himself, an awful, domineering CEO. At this moment, I'm in the Civil Affairs Bureau, processing the divorce papers. Sitting beside me is a woman, very beautiful, but her face is as white as paper. She's Willow, my legally wedded wife, but she won't be for long. The original novel states that after 3 years of marriage, I neglected her, humiliated her, misunderstood her, and caused her miscarriage. I was a total scumbag, but I still loved her deeply. After being manipulated by a scheming woman and provoked by a man with an unclear relationship with Willow, I went to extremes. In the book, the male lead does everything wrong at first. The female lead suffers, but later the male lead comes to his senses and tries to make amends in a self-destructive way. In the end, the male lead ends up with broken legs, bankruptcy, and nearly dying. The result, the female lead doesn't forgive him. The male lead loses almost everything. Tragic, to say the least. I was thinking when suddenly a few lines of colorful, semi-transparent text floated by, blocking my view a bit. High energy ahead, tragic plot incoming. Doggy George, wake up. Look at all Willow has sacrificed for you. If you sign, you're done for. I'll bet 50 cents. He's definitely going to rip up the divorce agreement and shout, "I don't agree." Classic move. Bullet comments. I get it now. They're from viewers in another world. They're watching a drama, waiting to see my suffering, my regrets, and for me to walk down the irreversible path of lost love. I looked at those comments and smiled, curling my lips. What a load of nonsense. Why should I care? I'm not the original guy. Why should I suffer through hell for that idiot? Broken legs, bankruptcy, begging for forgiveness. Ridiculous. Isn't freedom better? A strong desire to survive surged within me. I need to break free from all this right now. The staff pushed the agreement in front of me, pointing at the place where I was supposed to sign. Willow didn't look at me. She kept her head down, staring at the table, her eyes still hollow. She was signing her own copy, writing quickly and forcefully, as if trying to escape from something. The pen was right in front of me, so I picked it up. The bullet comments were still floating by, dense and noisy. His expression is so cold. Could it be that he's really signing? No way. He's acting. Definitely acting. It's about to explode. I'm waiting for the classic scene. Screenshot and recording ready. I didn't even look at those annoying comments. I grabbed the pen. The tip of the pen touched the paper. Smooth and effortless. Then I wrote down George. I wrote quickly and steadily, without a second of hesitation, my wrist never trembling. After finishing, I put the pen down and pushed the paper toward the staff. All done, I said, my voice unexpectedly light. The entire hall was quiet. Only the hum of the air conditioning could be heard. The staff was slightly stunned, looking at the agreement, then at me, then at Willow. They probably had never seen a divorce go so smoothly, especially from the infamous, loving CEO Wong. Willow had finished signing as well. She raised her head, and her hollow eyes finally looked at me. Inside, there was no longer just numbness. There was something else, shock and disbelief. Chapter 2. At this moment, the bullet comments exploded. I can't even. 1,000 exclamation marks and question marks in my mind. What the hell? He signed it. He really signed it. This isn't the script, director. What happened to tearing up the agreement? What happened to the sudden realization? Aha. Where's my plot? Is this really what I wanted to see? Refund. The staff quickly completed the procedure. With high efficiency, 2 red books were handed over, divorce certificates. It's done. I'm emotionally free now. I stood up and stretched, noticing Willow was still sitting there. Her head lowered as she stared at the red book in her hands, as if it were a hot iron. I didn't look at her and just turned to leave. My steps were quick and urgent, eager to get away from this place. The bullet comments scrolled frantically. He's really just leaving like this, not even a glance back. Where's my plot? Where's my tragedy? Did the scriptwriter go to hell? George, come back and kneel. Wait, did he leave too easily? As I walked out of the Civil Affairs office, The sun was blinding. The traffic outside was heavy, and the air felt so much fresher. The driver brought the car over, a black luxury car, and stopped by the roadside. I opened the door and sat in. The leather seats were comfortable. The driver asked, "Back to the company?" I hummed and leaned back in the seat, closing my eyes. My head still throbbed, but the heavy weight in my heart was gone. I felt light, lighter than ever before. The car started, merging into traffic, with the civil affairs office left behind. My phone vibrated, and I took it out to check. The screen was lit up, and the name, Maria, was flashing. She is the black-hearted lotus in the book Who Framed Willow, causing the original George to misunderstand Willow and becoming the culprit who made her miscarry. She was also one of the main triggers for the follow-up plot. The bullet comments instantly became excited. "It's here." The mistress's phone call came in. She must be calling to comfort him. Doggy George is definitely going to seek her out to complain. Scumbag man, cheap woman, lock them up, leave Willow alone. I felt disgusted seeing that name. I directly hung up, swiped, and dragged the name into the blacklist. The world felt half quieter. The bullet comments exploded again. Hung up. Even blacklisted. Holy shit. What the hell is going on here? This isn't what the script says. George, wake up. Did he figure it out? Does he know Maria framed Willow? So what if he knows? It's too late, scumbag. The driver glanced at me through the rearview mirror and said, "President Wong, it's Miss Maria. Don't ever mention her name again." My voice was not loud, but it was cold. The driver immediately shut up. "Yes, President Wong." The phone rang again. This time it was the assistant. I picked up. "President Wong, have you completed the procedure?" The assistant's voice was cautious, probing. I'm divorced," I said flatly. "Should we arrange compensation for Miss Liu?" "Not a cent. As per the premarital agreement." I interrupted him. I remembered the premarital agreement. Willow had signed it, and she was leaving with nothing, because that bitch, Maria, had accused Willow of being pregnant with another man's child. So the male lead had directly forced Willow to miscarry and then sent her away with nothing. Pack her things and throw them out of the Wong family. Don't send them to the wrong place. Remember to take back the keys. The assistant clearly paused on the other end. Understood. President Wong. How should we explain this to Chairman Wong? He has always valued Miss Liu highly. Chairman Wong, the original's father, was somewhat nice to Willow in the story, but unfortunately, his son was a piece of shit. Later, he kicked the male lead out and didn't give him a single cent. I replied, "I'll handle it myself. Now, go back to the company. Gather all department heads. A meeting in 1 hour. I want to see the latest financial reports and project progress. All of them. The latest. In 30 minutes. If the meeting room isn't full, they can submit their resignation letters." "Yes, President Wong. I'll arrange it immediately." The assistant's voice became tense, and he hung up. The bullet comments were scrolling at a dizzying speed. Is this really a divorce? This is cutting ties completely. Rooting out everything. Cold-blooded. Too cold-blooded. Willow's 3 years of youth fed to the dog. Doggy George. Maria blacklisted. Willow kicked away. Back to work. What the hell is going on with George? Is he becoming a career-driven machine? Is he going for the money? Chapter 3. I arrived at the company and pushed open the office door. A figure rushed towards me, with a scent of perfume. It was Maria. Her eyes were red, as if she had been crying, and her voice was sticky. "George, why did you block me? What did I do wrong?" I stepped aside to avoid her. She missed and almost fell. "George?" She turned back, her face full of grievance and shock. I walked around her and sat behind my desk. Looking up coldly, I said, "Who let you in?" "I heard from the assistant that you got divorced. I was worried about you." She moved forward. "Get out." "What?" Maria froze. "Now, immediately. Get out of my office." I pointed to the door. "Don't come within a step of here again." Her face instantly turned pale and then red. "George, why are you?" "Security." I pressed the intercom. The bullet comments went wild at this moment. "Damn, ruthless. Is he like this even to his crush?" Look at Maria's face turning green. Haha. That slap was loud. So satisfying. Did George take the wrong meds? He seems to hate everyone. Security quickly entered. "Mr. Wong, please escort Miss Maria out. From now on, she is not allowed to enter the company without my permission." I lowered my head to look at the documents, not looking at her anymore. "Yes, sir." Security turned to Maria. "Miss Maria, please." "George, you bastard. I will never speak to you again." Maria screamed and was half escorted, half dragged out by the security guard. The office became quiet again. The bullet comments were still rolling. He really kicked her out. Impressive. The goddess turned into an ordinary passerby. The plot has collapsed completely. I don't understand this development, but I am so shocked. Has the scumbag turned over a new leaf? No, this doesn't look like turning over. More like he changed his brain. I ignored the comments. The butler called again, saying my father wanted me to leave and come home. I returned to the old Wang family house and saw the old man sitting on the sofa, his face ashen. To my surprise, Willow was also there. She was standing in the middle of the living room, with an open suitcase at her feet, packing a few folded clothes into it. When she heard my footsteps, she paused for a moment but didn't turn around and continued her actions. The old man saw me and slammed his hand on the armrest of the sofa. Good for nothing. You'd better explain yourself. Dad, you saw it. The papers are all done, I said. She'll leave once she finishes packing. Leave. The old man stood up in anger. Who told her to leave? He strode to Willow's side and pressed the lid of her suitcase down. Willow, put that down. If anyone is leaving, it's not you. Willow's hand froze in midair. The old man suddenly turned to me, his finger almost poking my nose. You should be the one leaving. George, I don't have a son like you. Heartless, blind, and completely clueless. The bullet comments exploded again. Wow, the old man is powerful. George must be scared shitless now. He's going to kneel and beg for forgiveness. Right. I'm waiting for the scumbag to cry and beg for mercy. Chapter 4. The old man turned to comfort Willow, saying, Willow, don't leave. George has really changed. I just received word that he blocked Maria and won't let her come to the company anymore. George still loves you. The old man's chest heaved, each word coming out slowly. Willow looked at him with an expression of surprise, as if she couldn't understand that I would actually block the woman I loved the most for her. Seeing that I didn't say anything, the old man angrily said, George, I'm telling you right now, if you dare divorce Willow, get the hell out of this house. The Wang family has no heir like you. Willow is so good, and you don't cherish her, but keep tormenting her. Without her, you're nothing. He stared at me, as if waiting for me to beg for mercy, to regret my decision, waiting for me to, like in the novels, wake up and cry bitterly, kneel and beg for forgiveness. I looked at him, then I glanced at Willow. She was looking at me too, her lips pressed tightly together. The air felt as tense as a taut string. I nodded. My voice was calm. Okay. The old man froze. Willow's eyes widened just a little. A fleeting, almost unnoticeable emotion passed through them. It seemed more like complete astonishment, or maybe a hint of curiosity. The bullet comments froze for a second, then exploded. I have a million question marks in my mind. What is he saying? Okay. He just said okay. Wait, did they mix up the script? The old man told him to get out of the house, and he says okay. He's gone mad. George is definitely insane. Willow's expression. She didn't expect this either. Holy shit, what kind of crazy plot twist is this? The script for saving the wife just got burned to ashes. He doesn't even want his family inheritance. The old man stood there with his mouth open, unable to speak for a while, his face turning bright red. Willow's gaze was fixed on my face. I didn't look at them anymore. I turned and went upstairs, back to my room to pack my things. The taste of freedom was so damn refreshing. The bullet comments were still crazily refreshing. You don't want the family assets, the inheritance. All this just for a divorce. This scumbag has reached a new level of scum. He's scummy to the core. I think Willow is thinking, I've prepared 3 years of intense love and suffering, and you just do this. The world has collapsed. This book is unreadable now. At this moment, Willow also furrowed her brows and stopped me. She said calmly, George, it's me who should leave, but I still need to tell you, the child I lost was yours, not Makoto's. I didn't do anything wrong to you, and you don't need to play these tricks of a false pursuit. I won't see you again. I raised my hand and made a shelter, squinting my eyes as I smiled. I'm willing to send you far away. Your words are just what I want to hear. There's a company banquet tonight. Make sure you don't come. Don't let me see you. Willow furrowed her brows, her eyes showing a hint of anger. I lowered my head and stroked my fingers, saying, if you don't come tonight, Makoto won't come either. I won't let Maria come. Everything will be fine. Please, don't come. Willow froze for a moment, not understanding what I meant. I had read the original text, so I knew what would happen in the drama. At tonight's banquet, the male lead would see Willow and Makoto coming together, angered, and kiss Maria right in front of them, escalating the conflict between the male and female leads. The male lead would angrily hit Makoto, leaving the female lead utterly disappointed. In the end, the male lead's father would publicly announce the loss of his inheritance rights, and the male lead would be driven out in disgrace. This would kick off the self-destructive love reconciliation mode. But right now, if I told Willow not to come, none of that would happen. It would be a peaceful separation, everyone happy. But if they dared to show up, don't blame me for tearing the mask off. I had already gathered some evidence that wasn't introduced in the original story. The feeling of freedom was so good. Why would I want to get involved in your petty love-hate dramas? How boring. I don't have to chase anyone, don't have to simp for anyone, And I'm not bound by the plot. I have my own time, my own space, my own future. What self-destructive efforts to win back my wife. What tragic, deep love. Nonsense. I, President Wang, am here to make money, build my career, and live a free and easy life. Don't bother me. But at this moment, Willow looked up, acting completely out of character, and stubbornly stared at me, saying, I'm going. Why can't I go? As expected, the bullet comments went wild in front of me. Willow's inner thoughts, the rebellious phase has begun. About my ex-husband telling me not to go to the banquet, so I'm going anyway. Story. George versus Makoto. Who will win? Tonight's going to be a battlefield. Just watch George cry and beg for forgiveness. I've read the original text, and a big drama is about to begin. If the male lead doesn't get screwed this time, I'll poop while doing a handstand. Chapter 5. Crazy. I didn't pay any attention to Willow, nor to the bullet comments, and instead shook my head as I headed back to the company. The meeting room was already filled with people, silent as mice, each of them sitting upright, tense and nervous. There were piles of thick documents on the table, the projector was on, and the air felt strained. Everyone was secretly watching me, their eyes full of uncertainty. They probably all knew by now, President Wang got divorced today. His mood must be at rock bottom, and they were all waiting to bear the brunt of his anger. Moreover, the previous President Wang had been unskilled and totally misdirecting. I walked to the main seat and sat down, not wasting any words. Let's begin, I said. Finance. You go first. The CFO immediately stood up and began the report. Numbers, revenue, profit, costs, cash flow, speaking quickly, with a slight tremble in his voice. I listened, my brain automatically analyzing. Before this, I was in finance. Reading reports was second nature. I could spot flaws, discrepancies, and unreasonable points in an instant. Stop. I interrupted him and pointed to a spot on the projection. Here, the marketing expenses for Q3, a 35% year-over-year increase. Explain. Sweat appeared on the CFO's forehead. President Wang. This was for sponsorship of several large events and celebrity endorsements. Which celebrity? Where's the evaluation report for the endorsement? ROI data. Tracking of the event conversion rate. My voice wasn't loud, but each word was like a hammer hitting the table. Can't produce it, then it's wasted money. Who approved this budget? You. The CFO turned pale. It was recommended by Miss Maria, and Mr. Liu and Director Willow also thought it was feasible. Maria and Willow again. A few bullet comments floated by, cursing me for shifting the blame. Willow is no longer the director. I looked at him. I'm divorced from her. She has no ties to the Wang family anymore. Maria. Who is she? When did outsiders start making decisions for the Wang family? The meeting room went completely silent, everyone holding their breath, because they knew I had always listened to Maria in the past. Ignoring their astonished looks, I coldly continued. This money is a result of negligence in financial review. The supervisor will have 3 months bonus deducted. I looked at the CFO. No year-end bonus. And this is the last time. If there's another incident, you're out. The CFO's legs almost gave out, and he nearly couldn't stand, quickly replying, yes, President Wang, I'll conduct a full investigation and hold people accountable. Continue. I turned to the next project department. Why has the progress on the West City land been delayed for 2 months? The project manager quickly stood up and began explaining, citing issues with demolition and the approval process. I listened, occasionally interrupting to ask about key milestones, responsible parties, and solutions. My approach was decisive. No small talk. The atmosphere in the room slowly shifted from panic to awe. No one dared slack off. No one dared to give a half-hearted response. Each person was drenched in sweat, yet had no choice but to admit that President Wang was like a changed person, not shouting, not swearing. But this new version of President Wang was even more terrifying than the old, angry one. His gaze was sharp, his questions too precise, every sentence hitting the target. The tone of the bullet comments changed as well. Holy shit, is he actually working, really working? This aura is a little scary. The questions are so professional, sharp and to the point. Is this still the same CEO who only used money and shouting to solve problems? The divorce hit him hard, but it seems to have unlocked some new abilities. Eamon focused on his career is kind of scary, kind of handsome. Never mind. No, I didn't mean that. You guys, no turning on him. Remember, he's the scumbag. But he doesn't seem to care about Willow anymore. He doesn't even mention her name. Chapter 6. The meeting lasted for a full 3 hours. By the end, everyone looked like they had just fought a tough battle, exhausted. But in their eyes, there was something different, no longer pure fear, but something akin to respect. I stood up and said, Meeting adjourned. The issues from today must have solutions on my desk by noon tomorrow. I want to see specific people responsible and timelines. If you can't meet it, I'll find someone else to do it. Yes, President Wang. The response was unusually sharp and loud. I strode out of the meeting room without returning to my office and headed straight to my assistant's side. Get me a new apartment. Downtown. Top security. Good privacy. I need to move in tonight. Pack up the useful things from the Wang family's old house and send them over. Anything useless, throw it away. The assistant paused for a moment. President Wang, are you not going back to the villa? That's the Wang family's house, not mine. I don't want to live with anyone from the Wang family right now. I looked at him. Understand? Understood. The assistant immediately took note. I'll take care of it right away. Also, I added, change all passwords, door locks, and security systems, especially at the villa. Do a thorough check. I don't want anyone, and I mean anyone, to be able to approach my territory without permission, including the old men and Willow. Maria. The assistant asked cautiously. Everyone, I said firmly. Understood. The assistant responded sharply. The bullet comments continued to explode, moving, completely cutting ties. Is he planning to be a lone wolf now? Feels like something big is about to happen. Wait a minute, am I watching a tragic love story? Why do I feel a bit of satisfaction here? Having arranged everything, I finally returned to my spacious CEO office. The huge floor-to-ceiling windows offered a view of the city skyline, with the golden glow of the sunset streaming in, illuminating the floating dust in the air. I walked to the window and gazed at the flowing cars and people below. As for the bullet comments, the colorful words in my view were still scrolling. What's he doing by the window? Acting all deep. Regret. He's definitely regretting not winning Willow back. I'll bet 5 cents. He's about to call Willow. Scumbag tactics, playing hard to get. I watched the flashing words, silently smiling, shaking my head. A bunch of wannabe men and women, unable to enjoy the good things in the real world, finding their sense of existence here. One word, stupid. I touched a USB drive my assistant had just handed me, then pulled out my phone, found a name in my contacts, and dialed. Lawyer Lee. I said into the phone, my voice calm. Help me set up a personal trust fund, putting all movable and immovable assets, stocks, and investments outside of Wang Group into it. It will be independently managed, completely separate from the Wang family. I'll be the trustee. There was silence on the other end for a few seconds. Then the lawyer's voice became even more serious. Understood. President Wang, I'll handle any legal risks that need to be avoided. It will be delivered by 10 a.m. tomorrow. I hung up the phone. The golden light of the sunset had completely sunk beneath the high-rise buildings. Like a dazzling sea of stars, I watched that light as the bullet comments froze for a moment. Trust, splitting assets, the beneficiary is him. What is he planning? A will? Going this far? Is he really going to walk the path of a solitary, lonely man? Does Willow know he's locking up all the money? Chapter 7. The venue for the banquet. The crystal chandeliers dazzled, and the noise of people talking filled the air. I held a glass of champagne and leaned against the corner. My eyes scanned the crowd. As expected, Willow had come, with her male best friend, Makoto, standing close to her. They were talking about something. Makoto was smiling triumphantly. Willow had a calm expression, but didn't pull away. On the other side, Maria was there too. She flitted about like a butterfly, constantly moving, almost like a hostess, though her eyes occasionally drifted toward me, with a hook in her gaze. The bullet comments flooded the screen on time. Holy crap, the whole crew is here. The battlefield is about to start. Macadog looks like a smug cat that just stole a fish. Willow's such a fool. Maria's still lurking, preparing something sinister. This woman is disgusting. President Wang looks deep in thought in the corner. Come on, move already. You're killing me. Betting time has started. How long until George breaks down? I bet 5 minutes. Waiting for Doggy George to go wild and tear into Makoto. Fight already. Makoto noticed me. He smirked, his arm around Willow's waist, and walked toward me. Willow stiffened for a moment, trying to pull away, but Makoto didn't let go. They stopped in front of me. Makoto raised his glass and said, feigning kindness, President Wang, I heard you've had some big news today. Congratulations on regaining your freedom. He purposely glanced at Willow. Willow and we're both happy for you. Willow didn't say anything, pursing her lips as she looked at me, her gaze complex. The bullet comments exploded. Macadog getting in George's face. Kill him. George, hurry up and act. Willow's being used as a pawn. My heart hurts. George's face is so cold. Is he holding back something big? Maria also moved in closer. She turned to Makoto and Willow and immediately began with her pretentious coquette act. Mr. Ito, Mrs. Liu, I think you shouldn't provoke George right now. He's in a lot of pain. You. Makoto scoffed. Pain. More like confusion. He's throwing away a good wife like Willow. Maria immediately stepped in front of me, adopting a protective stance. Mr. Ito, please mind your words. George is not someone you can speak to like that. The bullet comments went wild. Here it comes. The pretentious coquette bitch protecting her men. The year's biggest drama. Makoto dog stoking the fire. Maria fanning the flames. Perfect match. George, hurry up and tear them apart. Rip their mouths open. What's taking so long? Why isn't Wong president exploding yet? Doesn't fit his character. It's over. Is Doggy George actually stunned? I looked at the three people in front of me. One was provoking. One was acting. One was silent. It felt like watching a circus. I smiled. Originally, I just wanted to focus on making money. But since you're all lining up to offer your heads, don't blame me for not being polite. I pulled out my phone and tapped a few times. The giant screen in the banquet hall, which had been showing boring ads, suddenly switched. It turned into a secretly recorded video. The angle was hidden, but the image was clear. The sound was loud and clear. It was Makoto and Maria, in a private room. The bullet comments froze for a second, then exploded. The screen. Holy shit. Going straight to the big screen. What is President Wong going to do? This angle. Is this a hidden camera? High energy warning. Something big is coming. This wasn't in the original. What's going on? Chapter 8. In the video, Makoto poured himself a glass of wine and smiled at Maria. Maria, your move was brilliant. You bribed that doctor to insist that Willow's child was in the early stages of pregnancy, and the timing conveniently didn't match George's business trip that week. That fool, George, actually believed it. Maria covered her mouth and giggled. He deserved it. He only had eyes for that bitch Willow. I wanted him to force her to get rid of her own child and then drive her out of the family. I want him to regret it for the rest of his life. And you did great too. That night, it was you who invited Willow to dinner. Right. Foolproof. Makoto clinked glasses with her and continued. Pleasure doing business. I just want Willow. And that blind bastard George, he loses Willow. Offends his own father. The Wong family is doomed. By then, Willow will have nowhere to go and will have no choice but to come back to me. Maria's eyes turned vicious as she said. George has to be mine. He dares to reject me, when he has nothing left and comes crawling to me. Let's see how I'll deal with him. The video played on, and the entire room fell silent. Everyone stared at the big screen. They were dumbfounded. Makoto's smile froze completely, and his face drained of color. The arrogance in his eyes turned to terror. He turned sharply toward me, as if he had seen a ghost. Maria's fake crying and act of being wronged instantly froze on her face. She opened her mouth, trembling all over, as if all her bones had been sucked out. Her eyes glazed over. No. George, listen to me, she babbled incoherently, trying to rush over to shut off the video. I gave her a cold look. She froze in place. The most shocked was Willow. She stared at the big screen. Her body swayed slightly. Her wine glass dropped to the ground with a crash. It shattered into pieces. Red wine splattered across her white skirt, looking like blood. She didn't care. She stood there, her eyes wide open. Her pupils were filled with a violent tremor, disbelief, then, an immense emptiness, and finally, cold anger began to rise in her. Slowly, extremely slowly, she turned her head. First, she looked at Makoto, who was pale as death and trembling like a leaf. Then, she turned her gaze to Maria, who was on the brink of collapse, her face full of despair. Her lips trembled. She couldn't say a word. The bullet comments went completely insane, flooding the screen like a tsunami. A nuclear bomb. President Wong just dropped a nuclear-level bomb. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Plot twist. A huge plot twist. Makoto and Maria, these bastards, they were behind everything. Willow, look at Willow's expression. My heart is breaking. George, young Master Wong, Wong the God, you're my father. Your foresight is 100 layers above everyone else. So Doggy urged divorce, blocking Maria, kicking her out of the house, all because he knew the truth. He's not a scumbag. He's been bearing humiliation for the greater good. Holy shit, this plot is genius. I kneel before Wong President. I owe you my respect. The tragic love story just turned into a revenge fantasy. Amazing. Willow looks completely dumbfounded. Her worldview has shattered. Macadog and pretentious coquette Maria look sick to their stomachs. They're about to pee their pants. Ha ha ha. Too much information. My low-power CPU brain is going to fry. Let me recover. The video finally ended, and the giant screen went black. The banquet hall remained dead silent. The sound of a needle dropping could be heard. Everyone was so stunned by this shocking revelation that they could hardly catch their breath. I set down the untouched champagne and looked at Willow, who stood there frozen like a statue. Her face was as pale as paper. Her eyes were vacant and filled with pain, as if her soul had been drained. I spoke, my voice not loud. But in the eerie silence of the hall, it was frighteningly clear. Did you see clearly? I asked her. This is your friend whom you trusted, and the good men you almost married. I pulled the corner of my mouth up, coldly saying, the child is mine. You didn't wrong me. The ones who wronged you are them. I pointed at the pale-faced Makoto and Maria. Anne. My gaze finally landed on Willow's ghostly white face. And you, who kept everything from me. You've sacrificed. You've done so much for me, but you never said a word, always keeping it all inside, sulking by yourself, acting all pretentious and disgusting. You're guilty too. With that, I turned and didn't look at anyone else. In the midst of hundreds of shocked, probing, and fearful gazes, amidst the explosion of bullet comments, I walked through the silent crowd and out of the gilded yet nauseating banquet hall. The night air was cool, and I took a deep breath. Behind me, I could faintly hear Makoto's agonizing scream and Maria's high-pitched wailing. There was also Willow's suppressed, broken sobbing. The taste of freedom, it finally mixed with something else. Truth. The bullet comments kept rolling like a crescendo of madness. He's gone mad. President Wong has gone mad tonight. From hell to godhood. Just one more video to go. Now the pressure's on Willow. What's she going to do? The script has been urgently rewritten. President Wong, do you need a simp? Makoto and Maria's social death, so satisfying. George, turn back. Willow needs you. Chapter 9. By noon the next day, I had already received the property divestiture documents from my lawyer. My phone rang again. It was my old man. Hello, George, come home. I know about last night. I've invited Willow back. Whether you two can reconcile is up to you. Come back right now. Clear things up. Apologize to her. We're still family. The bullet comments scrolled by. Wong old man's support. Quick, get back together. Willow's softened. President Wong, go for it. The tragic love story ends. Time for remarriage and recertification. Go home. I asked in a flat tone. Which home? The Wong family's. Didn't you personally throw me out yesterday? You've probably already changed the property title, right? There was a pause on the other end. The bullet comments started. Buffed. Haha. Fatal question. President Wong holds a grudge. The old man took a breath, trying to reason with me. That was just in anger. You're my son. Flesh and blood. Everything in the Wong family was always yours. Just come back. Live well with Willow. I interrupted him. Dad, you're really something. Yesterday, for a good daughter-in-law you've known for just a few years, you pointed at your own son and called me heartless, blind, and heart-blind, and told me to get out of this house. The Wong family has no heir like me. I repeated his words verbatim. Every word a sharp strike, forceful and full of conviction. So, what now? After one night, realizing your good daughter-in-law had a miscarriage caused by a villain, and your good son might not be as blind as you thought, the bloodline is suddenly connected again. The family assets are mine again. You're quite flexible with this bloodline and family assets thing, depending on your mood. The bullet comments flooded the screen. Holy shit. Every word hits the mark. President Wong's words are poisoned. Does the old man feel pain? Reverse mind control master. The old man's breath grew heavy, clearly furious. You ungrateful son. I'm your father. Yes, I admitted. So you're even more interesting. A father. To protect a daughter-in-law you've known for just a few years. Without hesitation severing ties with your own son. Throwing him out of the house. Without asking for any explanation. Just believing what you want to believe. Your biased logic is really touching. Now, with the truth finally out, you want to erase yesterday's act with a simple "it was said in anger." Bloodline connection. Is it that easy to forget? Dad, water that's been spilled can't be collected back. When you pushed me away, I was no longer part of the Wong family. You can accept Willow as your daughter, or your daughter-in-law, it's your business. Don't drag me into it. I'm doing fine now. The bullet comments erupted. Holy shit, logical genius. The old man has nothing to say now. President Wong refuses moral blackmail. This clarity, I'm in love with this. What will Willow do? There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long time. I could hear the old man's heavy breathing. Then, someone else picked up the phone. It was Willow. Her voice came through, a little hoarse, dry. George, can we talk? Alone. The bullet comments instantly went wild. Willow's taking the initiative. President Wong. Say yes, it's an opportunity. Countdown to reconciliation. I sneered. My voice was clear. And came through the speaker. Talk about what? Talk about how miserable I've been. Deceived for 3 years. Talk about how I finally got my innocence back. How rare that is. Talk about how we should cherish each other and fix what's broken. Willow, save it. Yesterday, it was me who signed the papers at the Civil Affairs Bureau, and it was you too. It was my dad who kicked me out of the house, and it was you who silently allowed it. In your heart, I'm still that blind, heartless George who killed your child and tortured you for 3 years. You hate me, despise me, want to run away from me. That's right, because for those 3 years, the one who abused you really did bear the name George and wear this face. Even though it wasn't me doing it, but the debt, I'll take it. So, I signed the papers. I left the Wong family. I paid the price I owed. We're even now. Now that the truth is clear, do you feel wronged, deceived, or guilty toward me? No need. The one you owe an apology to is the George who truly loved you but was deceived, misled, and ultimately made a huge mistake. Unfortunately, he was forced to death by both of you. The person I am now doesn't hate you. I don't owe you anything, and I don't need your guilt or compensation. Like the song says, I'll send you away, far away. Your apology. I don't deserve it, so don't talk about it. Ex-wife, I wish you would stay far away from scum. Goodbye. Oh no, more like, never see you again. With that, I didn't wait for a response and hung up the phone. I blocked my dad's number as well. The world became quiet. The bullet comments exploded. I really don't understand. Can someone explain this to me? Another failed reconciliation. President Wong has rejected her 3 times now. He called Willow ex-wife. So cold. I took the debt. Damn, that's kind of hurtful. What's going on? He was forced to death by both of you. Holy shit, that's chilling. So President Wong sees himself as a different person now. Trying to win back his wife? Nah, screw that. President Wong doesn't even want to see her anymore. The self-destructive script for winning back the wife, rewritten by President Wong himself. Willow must be stunned on the other side of the phone. I tossed my phone aside. The sunlight streamed onto the floor, warm, quiet, and free, with a hint of decisive relief. The bullet comments were still scrolling. George, you're so ruthless. I thought the truth would lead to a happy ending, but this bee is so thorough. Willow, who should I cry to now? The plot direction. Someone get the writer to face the consequences. Chapter 10. A few days later. My phone pushed a news notification. Ito Group stock price plummeted by 90%. Core projects were comprehensively attacked by Wong Group, leading to a broken cash flow. Makoto was under investigation for business fraud and embezzlement. Maria's secret photos and recordings were exposed, involving extortion and power for sex transactions. Maria's family went bankrupt. Creditors blocked their door, and Maria was diagnosed with a mental disorder and sent to a sanatorium. The bullet comments flew by. Old Man Wong made his move. Thunderous power. Plus Willow's final strike. Steady, precise, ruthless. Macadog's suicide scene ready to go. Maria's pretentious coquette act is over. Revenge story mode activated. Where's President Wong? Come watch the show. There was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Willow standing outside. Her face was still a little pale, but her eyes were different now. No longer vacant or confused. There was something more. Fatigue, calmness, and a trace of something unspoken. She wasn't wearing makeup, just dressed simply. She asked, "Can we talk?" No talk of reconciliation. I moved aside to let her in. The bullet comments surged. Willow's here. What else could they talk about if not reconciliation? President Wong actually let her in. Is there hope? The atmosphere feels off. She didn't sit down, instead standing in the middle of the living room, watching me. Makoto's done. Maria's done too. Dad. Chairman Wong made his move. I handed him the knife. I saw. I poured myself a glass of water and took a sip. All the evidence has been cleared up. She continued. Back then, the miscarriage was Maria bribing the doctor and the maid to forge pregnancy reports and phone records. Makoto provided the funds and the channels, and he deliberately created the affair between us while you were on your business trip. I put the cup down. She paused, seemingly considering her words. Her eyes filled with complexity as she looked at me. We were both fools. I raised an eyebrow. We were kept in the dark, torturing each other for 3 years. She pulled at the corner of her mouth. Bitter, like 2 puppets on strings, played in circles by them. We hated the wrong people, and loved in the wrong way. The bullet comments said. Willow's awake. Oh no, I feel so sorry for these 2 fools. Hug her, George. Now that the truth is out, it's time to reconcile. I looked at her. So? I asked. So? She seemed surprised by my reaction. So, Willow. I interrupted her. Fools is your word, not mine. She froze. You think we're fools, deceived, pitiful, wronged. And now that the truth has cleared things up, we should cry it out, or at least reconcile. I took a step closer, and she instinctively took a half step back. Stop being dramatic, I said, my tone flat. The past 3 years, the pain was real, the hurt was real, the miscarriage was real, signing the divorce papers was real. You hated me and wanted to escape from me. That was real. I signed the papers and left. That was real. Now that the truth is out, do you think those 3 years can be wiped away? That all that pain and hurt can be erased with a single click? No, they're still there, like a scar, reminding us of how stupid we were, how easily manipulated, how we failed. The bullet comments popped up. Ah, so cold. But somehow, it makes sense. President Wang is so clear-headed. Willow's eyes are red. Willow's lips moved, like she wanted to say something. I didn't give her the chance. You said we clearly loved each other. I looked at her, my gaze calm, unruffled. Willow, are you sure? 3 years ago, that blind and heartless George, who could only express possessiveness through harm, did he love you? Loved you in a twisted, foolish, self-destructive way? What about you? The Willow who was hurt, deceived, full of hatred, and only wanted to escape. Are you sure you still loved him back then? No, you hated him to the core. Now, that George is dead, killed by both you and him, forced to death by you too, and by his own doing. The person standing in front of you is not him. I don't hate you, but I can't say I love you either. To you, I only owe the ex-husband duty, the last bit of responsibility to clean up that stupid mess left by George. I've done my duty. We're square now. As for you, I looked at her pale face. Stop talking about love, it's too empty, and stop obsessing over who was foolish, who owes whom. It's meaningless. Look ahead. Live your life well. The title of the Wang family's daughter-in-law is enough for you to live comfortably. Don't make love your everything. Sometimes, it's not even as important as a warm meal. The bullet comments exploded. Philosopher George has logged in. Love is less important than a bowl of rice. Has he totally gone Buddha-like now? No need for a wife. President Wang seems like he's on the verge of becoming a monk. Willow's completely stunned. Willow stood there, dazed. The complex emotions in her eyes were completely replaced by confusion. She looked at me, like she was seeing a stranger. It took a long time. Finally, she asked very softly, so, what do you want now? I smiled, faintly. Want. No one bothering me. 3 meals a day, peace, freedom, and stay far away from all of you, the troublemakers. The farther, the better. The bullet comments rolled in. Ultimate goal, lie flat. President Wang is probably thinking, don't love me, it leads nowhere. Willow is completely out of the picture. The tragic story script was burned by the male lead into a relic, and now he wants to turn the relic into prayer beads. Willow didn't speak again. She looked at me for a long time. Her eyes held shock, confusion, lingering pain, and a hint of total relief. Finally, she nodded, said nothing, turned, and walked out the door, clean and decisive. The bullet comments appeared at the perfect moment. Willow gave up. It's fine. Let's both be well. President Wang, thank God she finally left. This ending ends so uniquely. On how the tragic male protagonist cultivates the path of heartlessness. Chapter 11. Time passed quickly, 1 year, then 2. I've been doing well, really well. After severing my assets from the Wang family, my father never really went all the way. The money I took was substantial enough for me to do whatever I wanted. I didn't return to Wang Group. I invested that money, had some good luck, and my judgment turned out to be decent. A few projects here and there. The money grew, doubled, then doubled again. Now, money isn't an issue. Time is free. Mood is light. I'm no longer tangled up in the concept of love, nor am I troubled by emotions. The world is simple. The goals are clear. Make money. Enjoy life. Do whatever feels good. Travel, dive, ski, or just lie on my own balcony. Bask in the sun. Read a book. Sleep in. No one to bother me. No one to annoy me. Peaceful. But occasionally, in some unavoidable situations, like industry summits or charity dinners, I still run into Willow. She's in a high position at Wang Group now. Her father personally trained her. She's decisive, strong-willed, no longer that pale, vacant-eyed woman she used to be. Now, she shines with brilliance, exuding a powerful aura. The first time we met at a banquet, she saw me across the crowd, nodded slightly, and I did the same. No words. We passed each other by. The second time, at a cocktail party, she walked over holding a glass of wine. Long time no see, she said. I raised my glass. I heard you're doing well, she said casually, as if talking about the weather. Yeah, not starving. We clinked glasses and parted ways. The third time, the fourth time, the more we ran into each other, the more we exchanged a few words. Business, market trends, nothing important, just casual exchanges, like ordinary friends who've known each other for years or familiar strangers. The bullet comments occasionally popped up. President Wang is looking more handsome. A Freeman shining bright. Willow has transformed. Queen vibes. These two have such good chemistry standing together. What a pity. What's there to regret? Both are living well, aren't they? No one mentioned the past. No one talked about love. No one brought up reconciliation. It was understood, move on. Completely move on. At another banquet, the lighting was soft, the music relaxing, and the noise of people chatting filled the air. I leaned against the bar, zoning out while watching the crowd. Willow walked over, not holding a drink this time. Can we talk for a bit? She asked. Sure, I replied. We walked out to the terrace. The night air was cool and refreshing. She leaned against the railing, turned her head to look at me. She watched for a long time, her gaze somewhat complicated. Curiosity, reflection, and finally, a small smile appeared. George, she spoke. Right now, you. She paused for a moment, seemingly searching for the right words. You really have charm. She finished speaking, looking at me, her eyes straightforward, no ambiguity, no probing, just stating an objective truth. I raised an eyebrow, a bit surprised. Really? I smiled. Was it money that did it? No. She shook her head, speaking seriously. It's that kind of vibe. What kind of vibe? That indifference. She looked out at the city lights in the distance, not caring about anything, not being tied to anything, free, clear-headed, knowing what you want and what you don't want. She turned back to look at me. That kind of vibe is quite attractive. Before. She added, in a neutral tone, you didn't have it, before. I tugged at the corner of my mouth. That idiot from before. All he had was caring and twisting himself up. She didn't argue, simply accepting it. So. I took a sip of the soda water in my glass. Now's better. It's better. She didn't say anything else, and I didn't ask, like how she was, how my father was, how Wong Group was. No need. It's better if we're both fine. We stood there for a while, the night breeze getting a little chilly, going back in. Okay, she said. We walked back into the banquet hall, merging into the lights and noise, like two streams briefly intersecting, then quietly parting, flowing toward our separate futures. The bullet comments scrolled by. End of story. President Wong has become the perfect male lead. Willow is stunning. Long live the queen. This ending, unexpected but perfectly logical. Long live freedom. Goodbye George, goodbye Willow, goodbye foolish plot. Life goes on. The sun is great, the wind is free. I drive along the coastal highway. No destination, just moving forward. The window rolled down, the salty sea breeze rushing in. It feels good on my face. Old songs play on the radio, hummed out of tune, and my mood is like the sky above, wide, clear, cloudless, and bright. It's perfect. The end.